everyone, happy Victober, and in honor of this year being the 5th Victober, I wanted to talk about my favorite books from past Victobers. Now, part of me thought maybe I should wait until next year so I could do a favorite from 5 years of Victober, but then also since this is the 5th Victober, it felt kind of appropriate to make a video like this. So maybe I'll make, a new and improved list next year or in a couple of Victobers. We'll see, but I'm doing it now this year, and I have a list of 15. So that's not too shabby from 4 Victobers to have 15 new favorite Victorian novels. And the first is Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore. I love this charming adventure tale, and it's got a sweet romance in it. The romance definitely, I don't think it's my favorite part. I sort of like it, but to me, what makes it really charming are all of the characters in it and the really cozy feel of this. You're really up close and personal with John Ridd's family, spending all of the different seasons with them, getting to see the forest around them, all of the environment that they live in. It just feels very woodland. And I really love this book. And so if you like a good solid adventure tale, I definitely recommend it. Then Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens. I read this the very first Victober, and I would not have read it so soon had not Katie from Books and Things talked it up so much. I loved this book. It's about the Dombey family, and Mr. Dombey owns this company, and he is so fixated on the concept that his son will take over the business. He has like monomania about it, and kind of ends up in the process neglecting his daughter, Flora. And it's very heartbreaking to see. But there's also a lot of good, interesting side plot lines going on. Some of the most interesting female characters that Dickens has. And it just has a lot to offer, and it feels fairly different and unique from his other books. Then third on the list is Sylvia's Lovers by Elizabeth Gaskell. This was a really unexpected delight. It's really scary when you love an author kind of reading a new book by them, and I wasn't sure what I was going to think of Sylvia's Lovers, but I ended up loving it. It had so much atmosphere to it, and to me has Gaskell's most impressive nature writing. I think that maybe the character of Sylvia wasn't the most fully fleshed out character, but there's so many other things going on in it that it makes it still a really strong novel to me. But I also am I love Gaskell's writing so much. So I will love, pretty much anything that she writes. Then the fourth on the list is Dr. Thorne by Anthony Trollope. I think I wasn't expecting myself to be so swoony during a romance, but I was with this one. It was just very sweet. And also, it's just a really good, solid society novel, seeing these different families and how important money and class is to them, and how they will just use and manipulate people. And there's some really good kind of satisfying redemption at the end. And I was just really rooting for the couple in this one. Then number 5 is Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. It was, I had no idea how gripping it was going to be. I could not stop reading. I really just felt so compelled to continue reading. And I loved it for that. And it was so fun because I read it with Kate from the novel Nomad and Bree Hill. And we just kept gushing about it the entire time. We wanted to know, what is Lady Audley's secret? And then once you know the secret, you want to know how things are going to fall out once things are, found out. And it's been really fun because now it's become a tradition with Kate that we read a Mary Elizabeth Braddon every Victober. And I'll talk about another one of hers then from a Victober that is my favorite further on in the list. Number 6 is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. Now, I know The Woodlanders is a lot of people's favorite by Thomas Hardy. For some reason, I just did not connect with it nearly as much as I did Far from the Madding Crowd. And also, I am in a way surprised at how much I love Far from the Madding Crowd, because the character of Bathsheba, to me, I think he had in mind that she would be this strong woman, but in the process, I think she's just terrible to all of the men. She just uses them however she feels. She's so wishy-washy, and she just tramples on them. So that being said, though, I still loved this book. So that's me saying how much I loved it, that despite the fact that I didn't like Bathsheba as a character, I still enjoyed it. Then number 7 is A Welsh Witch. I love this book. I think it's so underrated. It's by Raine, and it's about just this little insular town in Wales, and kind of small town gossip and legend. And I loved the main character of Catrin and the intimate, deep connection she has with this island. And some of the scenes I can still picture so vividly, but they're spoilery, so I can't talk about them. Then number 8, The Mayor of Casterbridge. This was another Thomas Hardy that really, it caught, this one to me was like the sensation, Thomas Hardy sensation novel. It was so pacey. The Mayor of Casterbridge, about things that he's done in his past. And then sort of all of the moving parts come together at this certain point where the book really kicks off, and you want to see kind of what the fallout is going to be from that. And I was so gripped. I had no idea how it was going to end. And I definitely want to reread it at some point, even though I know how it's going to end this time. It's his writing that I think really makes it such an amazing novel. Then Deerbrook by Harriet Martineau. I've talked about this book a fair amount. I was so swept away by it, and I read it 2 Victobers ago, and then I hosted a read-along this past May, and it was a reread for me. And what was really interesting, and I love about reading classic literature, it was a somewhat different experience for me rereading it. The first time I read it, I had decided who my favorite sister out of Margaret and Hester were. And I thought, yes, I know, she's my favorite. I can't wait to revisit that character. But as I went back and reread it, the other sister, actually, I thought, you know what? She has a better character arc. And I saw all of these weaknesses in her, and I didn't focus on the journey that she takes as she's progressing through this novel, and how you really see this journey that she takes and the growth that she achieves by the end is really inspirational. So that was a cool experience rereading Deerbrook. And then let's see, number 10 is Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. I had no idea what to expect with this, but this to me was a really pacey. I keep using that word. I sound like a broken record, but that really was what it was like. And I wanted to know what was going to happen. I was so compelled to keep reading. And it really, I just love Elizabeth Gaskell because her books, as I heard someone say, they are not samey. Anthony Trollope, bless his heart, Thomas Hardy, bless his heart. A lot of their books feel very similar, but Gaskell's don't. She really stands out in her different books. Then next is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Speaking of Dickens, I really, really loved this book. It might be my favorite Dickens. I really love Great Expectations though too. So sometime I will reread Great Expectations. And then Wuthering Heights. This was a reread for me 2 Victobers ago. And it just knocked my socks off. That's a book that when I come to the end, I just can't even verbalize why I love it so much. I just feel it like pierces my soul. I feel it so deeply. And just something about how intimate of a picture you get of these characters and how much Emily Bronte can make you feel for these characters that are incredibly, extremely flawed. Like you don't really know if you want to root for someone, but she makes you care and she pulls you in. And it's such a kind of suffocating reading experience. And I mean that in the best way possible. Then 13, and these last 3 are from last year. So 3 new favorite Victorian novels from last year. And that is Grania by Emily Lawless. I loved this book. It's not, I think it's just over 200 pages. It's a very quick read. I can't recommend it enough. Very atmospheric, makes you feel so deeply. And, oh, yes. Okay, and then Adam Bede by George Eliot. This confirmed for me that George Eliot was one of my favorite authors, and I have a video. I don't know if it's coming out before this or after this, but on George Eliot and my experience reading her. I'm really excited for everyone to see. So I'll talk more about Adam Bede in that video. And then lastly, The Doctor's Wife by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. So I had read Lady Audley's Secret. That's on this list. I love it. And then I read The Trail of the Serpent. Did not get on with The Trail of the Serpent. It was her attempt at a detective novel, and it was just all over the place. Like she had no seamless plot. She did not know what she wanted to do with it. And so I thought, well, that's a bummer. I kind of think maybe Mary Elizabeth Braddon and I like Lady Audley's Secret, and then I'm good. But then Kate and I decided to give it another try, and we read The Doctor's Wife. And what I love is that it felt just as readable as Lady Audley's Secret, but it had a very different vibe to it. And what's fun is it was a lot of like a book about books, and there was a lot of talk about sensation novels in it. One of the characters is a sensation novelist, and a lot of it, Mary Elizabeth Braddon was trying to put commentary in there on how sensation novelists were just thought of as kind of just, what do I want to say, less than authors. And so it's her commentary on that, because she felt she wasn't taken as seriously. But I'm still reading her today, and I still love her. And there's some really cool character growth within that book. So yes, I really enjoyed The Doctor's Wife. Definitely will reread it at some point, and I can't wait for this year's Mary Elizabeth Braddon. Maybe it will end up on a favorites list in a couple of years. I hope you enjoyed this. It was really fun to think back on all the books that I've read during past Victobers, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.